Da-da-da. Da-da-da.
All right.
Now that we're warmed up, let's roll the intro.
They're guys. They do magic. They are the Magic Guys.
Guys, what's up? Welcome to episode number 3 of the Magic Guys. I make up one half of the Magic Guys. I'm Josh Nobito, that's Jason Ma. And we are here to answer life topics on performing, everything in the world, things that happen to you at home.
And also delivering mediocre intros this summer.
And today we're back for number 3. Thank you for everyone who's watching us on YouTube, listening to us on Spotify and iTunes.
Is there another place that we're on?
There's probably some other places. But we appreciate if you're watching us through your eyeballs or your ear holes. Thank you for being here. We're 2 weeks till Christmas, Jace. Are you excited?
Very.
I've never asked you this. What's your feelings of Christmas? Like, how do you celebrate Christmas? Do you buy presents for people? You know, is Santa really your brother? You know, we all want to know these pressing topics.
So, okay. Well, first of all, I am Santa.
That's true.
And you've been a bad boy. No. All right.
I've been a bad boy. Okay.
No, my thoughts on Christmas. Honestly, I don't have any. I don't really celebrate Christmas as an overall thing. I like the idea of giving, but I'll give it to you straight. It's the single greatest marketing scam in the world, right? Don't get me wrong. Look, if you're a child and you're listening to this, and I don't know why you are, Santa's very real.
As is magic.
I do just find it funny, though, because it's like, Christmas. Why Christmas? You know, why Christmas is the time to give gifts, right?
And did you know Coca Cola actually created the colors of Santa? Red, black, and white
Genius.
is Coca Cola's colors.
That's great.
That's why growing up in the commercials, they would always have Santa in their commercials with the same colors, because now you can't help but think of
On the same note of like genius marketing, though, Pepsi once did this thing where they had the kid walk up to a vending machine and he orders a Coke and then he sets it on the ground, and then he orders another Coke, sets it on the ground, and then he stands up on the Coke so he can reach the Pepsi.
Wow.
That's marketing.
Wow. And speaking of marketing, zoom in effect. Anyway, so Christmas. So you love the idea of giving. Is there any difference when you're doing street shows in Christmas? Like, do you notice any different
like
from the
Christmas
crowd?
season, or like, you know, like
Yeah,
the whole
no,
holidays and stuff, or?
like people's vibes. Like, if you're busking like the week of Christmas,
Or the week of Christmas. Oh, sorry, okay.
do people tip more, or are they, you know what I mean?
I think
different?
Christmas is a funny time. So, firstly, it's the holidays, so people have more free time, which, as a street performer, is great. That means there's more people out and about. However, there is this strange energy. Like, Christmas invokes a lot of different emotions for a lot of different people. And so, for me, Christmas is fine. I have no thoughts, to be honest. I've never really celebrated it, really, at all.
Really?
Yeah. And so, having like last year, I didn't do anything for Christmas at all. Nothing. Didn't even have a Christmas tree. I didn't even give gifts. Nothing. Didn't even get.
Well, bro,
gifts.
you know what you'll be doing this Christmas?
Nothing.
Making content.
making day number 103.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Oh, man.
But there is this energy that comes with Christmas where some people are super happy because it is the season of giving, right?
Yeah.
And some people really go for this. They dive on that, and that's great. That's awesome. And if it makes them happy, awesome. But then there are the people who get stressed out, like proper stress. Like, they don't have any money. They got to buy presents, though. They've got to get Susie a little bicycle, and they've got to get their wife a diamond ring. You know, they get stressed.
How do you buy presents for your girlfriend? Like, how do you know what to buy and what size, especially clothes? Like, clothes, forget it. You know, how do you know what size of thing to get them? Because unless they try it on, you don't really know. And then, you know, you're setting yourself up to fail. These are the pressing things that happen at Christmas.
So funny.
Damn.
But
so
that, like, I think the best way to handle Christmas if you're going to buy someone a gift is what I did for my wife for her birthday last year, right? I didn't know what to get her. So I know that she likes art. So I bought her like a case to hold art supplies, and I just put $400 in there so she can buy whatever she wants.
If all else fails, inject money.
Yeah, just buy something and just put some money in it. It's fine.
You know what else would be a really good Christmas gift this season?
Tell me.
A Zoom show from Josh Nobito or Jason Ma.
A 24-hour Zoom show.
No. That I don't know if they can. You know, it's $1 a minute. I wonder if magicians have thought of that.
What if we did?
Hang on. I got a thought here.
No, I've got an idea as well. What if we did a
Are you gonna
Zoom
just
show
say my idea
and we donated the money
to ourselves
to a charity known as the Jason Fund?
That's a good idea. I thought you were going to use the charity line from busking.
Yeah, that
all the money goes to charity.
My wife listens to this podcast.
But no, I'm not saying you do it. I'm saying someone else does
saying
it.
You
but say the line because now...
No, it's too late. Anyway, the point is, you finish your thought about the podcast.
I wonder if magicians have thought of this idea as a gift, offering these Zoom show gift cards so that you get a magical one-on-one experience, and like that's the present. So it's not at Christmas, but it's like, here's a gift. You're literally given the gift of magic.
What if you give it to your clients? That'd be a good idea. Offer it to some of your best clients.
Well, what? A Zoom show?
A Zoom show. Offer it to some of your best clients. Why not?
Oh, yeah.
Talk about
if you're just giving it to them.
Give us.
Yeah, no, if you're... Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So like maybe a 20-minute Zoom show that... now my phone's ringing this time.
Yeah, it's clients. It's the same number that called me.
Is it?
Yeah.
So clients tried to book you. They're like, oh, he's not available. Let me call him instead.
All right, well, it's a shame.
That's okay. Hey, anyway, back to the story.
Someone else will get it.
That's actually a great idea. Call up your client and say, hey, get your staff around. I'm going to do a Zoom. Dude, that's a good idea.
That's genius, yeah?
You heard it here first, folks.
Wow, I'm going to...
You are welcome. Look, we have just given so much value to the magic community now. That's crazy, man.
Talk about a way to get started as a Zoom show before
bloody hell.
Day, right?
Now, you know what? We should stop this podcast right now. Go and get on that grind.
I feel like we should almost like stop the podcast just because that idea is too good.
Dude, we might have to cut this out.
You know what? We're given value. So this is what we're talking about. Given value.
Yeah.
No expectations.
And
so try it.
Something that I talk about all the time in my keynotes and stuff when clients ask me, like, how do you stand out amongst everyone else? You know, obviously you can do magic, but how do we do it with our business? And I always say things like, you know, look up your client list and find out, like hairdressers, for example. I did a talk for L'Oreal. They brought in all these salon owners. Long story short, they asked me, what can they do to stand out? I'm like, why don't you look up all of your clientele lists, see when their birthday is, and for everyone's birthday, it is like record a message for the team, from the team going, hey, Andrea, we just want to say happy birthday. We can't wait to see you in here next time. That's it, you know.
That's a great idea.
So
just a little bit of like personal relation,
like
right?
every day, just look up whose birthday it is, make that video, and it will make their day. Like yesterday, we had a real estate company drop off a box of chocolates to our door to say Merry Christmas. Like they're the ones that you know, look after the rental property that we're in. I've never ever seen a real estate company give chocolates to like the rental people, let alone the owners.
And now you're going to rent with them forever.
That had so much an effect that I'm actually mentioning them on this podcast. So Ray White in, I'm not going to say the suburb I live in, but you know, Ray White Real Estate, bloody good job. So even if you're not a magician, you could take what we're saying and make a video just for your clients anyway. It doesn't have to be a Zoom show. It could just be wishing them well, but make it personal. Don't just make a generic one for everyone.
It doesn't even need to be like on this much of a scale. Let's say you get a gig. This is just a great way, to be memorized.
You're already winning if you got a gig.
Let's just say you get a gig. It's your first gig ever, and they want you to do a 15-minute show. In that show, you could literally do a bill switch where you borrow a $5 note from someone and you turn it into, magically, a $50 note. And then you give them the $50 note. And like in your mind, like, sure, you're losing like $45 or whatever. But think about the impact that that's going to have and the perceived value that you're leaving them with. Like, you've just turned this thing magically into 50 and of no thought given it to them. No, nothing. You just want to give it to them. Just have $50, whatever. Yeah. I hope it brightens your day.
You know that I have done that, right?
Yeah, that's where I got it from.
Oh. Yeah, so because if you were really doing magic, you would change someone's money and then they would just continue keeping that money.
And it's a great, impactful moment, right?
And you know what's funny is when you give them that money, and I've noticed this so many times, is people... They're not uncomfortable, but they're uneasy with that. Like, whoa, he just gave me $45 technically. Like, do I give it back to him or whatever? And so many times I've had to stop people. I'm like, look, you can't give it back to me, but you can donate it to a charity or do some good with it if you want.
Good idea.
But you can't give it to me. So, yeah, people actually are like, oh, I need to give this back or give him value somehow,
right?
you know?
It's a memorable moment.
It's really crazy.
You know, another one that I really liked was, you know Brendan Dooley, obviously.
Yeah, Brendan Dooley
does this amazing trick where he puts a Rubik's Cube into a glass bottle. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
But then he gives them the bottle with the cube in it. And now, to preface this trick is expensive. It's not a cheap trick to do. And it just gives them this memorable thing that creates, with no expectations either. The point is that he just does this of his own cost just to give you something that you're going to remember forever. And it's great. I have one of those cubes. I don't even know how it gets in there. The craziest part is, too, I have this deck of cards in a glass bottle. And this was gifted to me by a magician in Sydney. I have no idea how he got them in there.
Dude, there you go. Creating magical moments.
Yeah.
I can tell you this really crazy story. A keynote speaker that mentored me, Vin Yang, shout out to Vin. To get people's attention, he would actually send clients that he wanted to work with a shoebox with one shoe in it.
What?
That sounds weird, right? And I'm talking good shoes. Like he would get like leather shoes. He would have his PA send them this box, and he would send with it a handwritten note. And so they open this box with one shoe in it, and they read the note, and it says, "Well, now that I've got one foot in the door, allow me to introduce myself.
Wow.
I'm Vin Yang."
Wow.
What
That's
a
really
way
good.
to make an impact, because everyone is probably sending like tons of spam emails, and he sends a shoe.
Does he give them the other shoe when they work with him or something?
I have no idea.
How good would that be? You
But,
finally
like,
get a nice pair of crocodile shoes.
How bloody great is that, right? Like,
That's a great idea.
it's costing
really
you
clever.
$100 to do it, but that is going to... they are 100% going to get back to you for doing that.
There's that memorable factor there, right? You need to be memorable. Yeah. Man, that's crazy. That's really good.
I love it. I
I'm
love
gonna
it.
have to do that now. Steal that idea.
So 2 weeks to Christmas. Oh yeah, do it. Yeah, anyone who's listening, like he's surpassed having to do that now. So
Do you know what? On a
go and
side
do it.
note as well, just while we're on this topic, a lot of people might listen to this and go, I don't have the money to do that, right? But I can tell you honestly that if you do it, even the handwritten letter is so much more impactful than sending an email. And that's going to cost you nothing. You take the time to like handwrite it. You know, you could illustrate something. You could do anything, all kinds of stuff. But this is like a much more impactful moment than, you don't have to spend money. But once you start making money, it's so much better to reinvest it into
yourself.
and probably your business, but whatever. Yeah, yourself. Yeah. I mean,
No, that's it.
fuck your business.
I love Grant Cardone for his 10x rule, which is you should be able to spend an amount of money on you and it make 10x that amount when you use it, like investing in a course or, learning a new skill, spending money on learning how to do it, or a prop or a camera lens. Like that should then make you at least 10 times the amount you spent. I love it.
How'd you feel after you got that camera lens? Were you happy?
Oh boy, this man, it's rocked my world.
It's great, right?
It's just like, crayons to perfume. It's like so much better than not having depth of field and
The
everything.
22 mil, baby.
Oh.
It's nice and cheap too. So if you guys need a good lens, 22 mil, highly recommend it. It's a wide lens with excellent focus.
I would love to get like a wider lens now, but
Get
this
a
one
nifty 50.
definitely
Yeah.
love it. Talking Christmas, what can I give you? So for Christmas, normally my girlfriend and I like to travel, and we can't this year.
Just before we go on, I think this podcast is all about giving you guys as much value as we can. It's our Christmas gift to you.
I like it. Let's give as much quality as we can.
Anyway, you were saying your girlfriend?
Last year we traveled to New Zealand because my girlfriend's family live in New Zealand. So we had this beautiful like view on the mountains where her sister lives and everything. And that feels like 5 years ago because of how much has happened in this year. It feels like so long ago. And there's just no chance of being able to do that this year. So this might be the first year, one of the few years that we're actually going to be home, which is actually really nice, both for personally and monetarily.
I mean, we talked about COVID in the first episode, right?
Yeah.
But, still with the 2020 year rolling on, it's almost over, guys. 2021. Have you reinvented yourself?
And I don't want to be the one to revert back to episode 1 when we mentioned the Spanish flu, but that actually went for 2 years.
Wow.
So
brace yourself.
2022 could still be a problem. Anyway, we make the best of
Who
it.
cares? The point is, though, that, you have more time now than you've probably ever had before to really change and fix yourself.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Some people might think that they're perfect, and I can tell you no one's perfect. There's always room for improvement.
Especially
What's
him.
the old saying? Practice makes perfect. Well, I actually think practice makes better. Because we're trying to achieve perfection. If you've achieved it, what's the point in practicing?
Well, I think it's really like practice makes permanent. I've heard that so many times, but I think that's more accurate.
Okay.
Like whatever you're practicing, you will become permanently doing that. So magic is a great example. Maybe we can touch on that with where you learn your magic from. Like if you're learning a wrong source of magic, you're going to permanently be doing it the wrong way, you know?
YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah, YouTube is a great example.
YouTube's a shocking place to learn magic. There are some good ones.
Absolutely. And the problem is with a beginner coming in, being saturated with options, they don't know where the good ones are. They don't know what they're learning is good. They just know.
You know what was really lucky, right? And I think for both of us is that we got to learn magic the right way. And when I say the right way, I don't necessarily mean because I learned some stuff off YouTube, but the stuff that I learned was from like Miss Mag 1822, you know,
822.
Yeah, that guy. And the thing was that his trick, Andy Fields.
Yeah, buddy.
But the thing that these guys were teaching was like really basic stuff. Like they did not go into complex magic at all. And so I remember going to people and performing these counting tricks, like, you know, really basic stuff. But it really sets you up for doing much bigger and better magic later on.
Yeah.
And if you try to, because a lot of people are like, I'm not going to try and give anything away here, but second dealing is a very common thing that people know of anyway. This is
gambling moves.
Yeah, gambling
just call
techniques,
it gambling
right?
moves.
But a lot of people see these gambling techniques and they just want to go straight for that because it's so cool, right? But it's such an advanced level of magic or sleight of hand that they forget the fundamentals, or they don't even learn the fundamentals. Then they learn poor technique, and then that poor technique never goes away. Like I know old guys that I've seen do magic, and they have just spent their entire life trying to do insane magic. And I'm sure someone jumps to your mind right now.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm not going to mention names, though. We're not here to hate.
This sounds like have I heard you say this on day 84 before?
About learning the right way?
Yeah, and about second dealing, and this is all coming back to me now. So,
yeah, I briefly touched on it. I didn't really.
Yeah. No, but it's so glad. I'm glad we can divulge and open it up here more. Because you're absolutely right. Like people just see these moves being done and they think, oh, that's what I should be learning right now.
That's going to make my magic better if I know that move.
Yeah, and people don't even take in consideration that people are watching you do magic from the moment you start. Like you should even know how to open a deck of cards and take cards out like a professional. You know, even that is a foundation, you know, knowing how to hold the deck in your hand without even doing any moves.
Grip and stuff like that.
Yeah, mechanics grip, biddle grip, all those kind of things, box grip, you know, you should know how to do all those things.
Then this will be all foreign to you. But there are literally teachings in books. I've read books where they teach you physically just how to hold a deck of cards. Yeah. And it's worth it because if you pick up a deck of cards, most people are pretty clumsy with it. You ever seen someone shuffle a deck of cards? It's crazy.
Every day.
Crazy how clumsy people are when it comes to shuffling cards. But as soon as you learn a basic amount of shuffling, it fundamentally changes the way people will perceive your magic.
And if you think about this, like if you don't even learn how to hold a deck of cards properly and you've just made up your own way, now when you start learning techniques in card magic, you're going to find them all difficult. And eventually, like when you get to an end of a routine, you're going to be doing the routine wrong, all because of it started with how you held the deck.
Yeah, it's like teaching an old dog new tricks, right?
Boom.
Yeah, but it is learning fundamentals is key. Jason England is a magician. Brilliant. Brilliant for fundamentals. In fact, I think that's when I started to get good, was when I bought his course on fundamentals.
Oh boy.
So he has a course called The Fundamentals of Card Magic.
That's great.
And literally all that set is just every single technique or base technique of card magic and card sleight of hand and stuff. Every single base technique taught in excruciating detail, starting from like easiest to hardest. And I found myself just meticulously practicing everything in order. I did it in order. I didn't skip to the hard stuff because I wanted to be cool. I just did it in order. And then I think that's what helped a lot.
Absolutely. The thing that I found a course called the Encyclopedia of Magic.
Yeah.
Again, ran by Vin Yang, who later became my keynote speaking mentor. He started on YouTube and then he realized, I shouldn't be teaching magic this way on this platform. So he created a teaching platform and it did super well as well. It was really successful, but it was perfect. It started with foundations, fundamentals, and I was able to learn so much of my repertoire from that.
It's great, right?
So long ago. It doesn't exist anymore. But, you know, if you're watching this...
Which brings us to our next point. Josh and I have started a course. For just 5 payments of $5.99.99.
Learn to be like the magic guys. No, if you're watching on if you're watching this on YouTube and you remember the Encyclopedia of Magic days, drop me a comment because they are the real OGs, you know?
Yeah.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
It is
What
good
do you
stuff.
think about, like, how do you think non-magicians see magicians when they're performing? Like, at an event, what do you think people think of magicians once they've seen them?
You know what I actually think? I actually think that most people have a negative perception of magicians for the most part.
Interesting.
There are two perceptions. There are the crazy ones, like they've seen Shin Lim on TV and they expect all magicians to be like this. Or they've seen the crappy, like, let's just say weeby sort of, you know what I mean? Like that greasy, nerdy kind of thing who's using magic to try and pick up chicks. That uncomfortable thing.
Yep.
I feel like those are the two extreme
Yeah.
points that people know. That's it. Like, that's all they know.
Yeah.
And then when they meet like an actual magician. So there are so many times that I've done magic for people or events or whatever, or even just on the streets. And people go, wow, you're the first magician I've ever seen who's normal.
Yeah. Or I've never seen magic like that. I didn't know magic could look like that.
Yeah, I didn't know magic could be so cool. Like, interesting or just anything. And that to me was eye-opening. And learning how to be separate from your magic is very key as well.
And you should be able to have people laugh and react and have a conversation around the magic, not just only when the reaction of the effect happens.
There's like there's the routine magician. You ever seen the routine magician?
Yeah.
The one who just like shows you a trick and then you react and then they show you another trick. What's the old joke? How do you get a magician to show you 100 tricks? Just ask to see one.
Yeah. It's like every industry has their joke, and that's our joke. If you want to see if you want to see 100 tricks, ask for one. I remember doing an event for pilots. No, it was a law. No, which one was it? It was a pilot. Yeah,
it was a made-up gig.
It was an airline, and they said, "Oh, how do you know?" I asked them, like, "Are there any inside jokes?" And they're like, "Well, how do you know you're standing next to a pilot?" I'm like, "How?" And they're like, "He'll tell you." So there's all those kind of those things that happen in every industry. But for ours, we love performing magic, so it's almost a skill to know when enough is enough.
Yeah, I always try to stick to like a max 3 rule.
Yeah,
so it's
that's
like
good.
It's like a beginning, middle, and end type of thing.
Tell us more.
Yeah, so in 1946,
because I do something very, very similar.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just having some kind of system when you're engaging people, but also you need to have the room to properly engage. So there are times when I'll just do one trick, and because the engagement was just them having a laugh with me and vice versa, and just having a good old time. And then there's the times where the people are just really into the magic, and so you just do the whole 3. And I try to stick to, like, if I'm doing close-up, it's like 10 minutes a group, 5 to 10 minutes a group, right? And then if I'm doing a stage show, I just kill it. I'm just the best. Yes. Anyway, sorry, back to it. Anyway, but you get it, right? The whole process needs to be organic, even in the feel of it. I mean, magic is not supposed to be moves.
No, that's right.
And this
moves,
is something that
it should be invisible. Absolutely.
Not even necessarily invisible. It should just...
Yes, invisible.
You could have... And this is true. I mean, yes, it should be invisible, obviously, to the person perceiving it. But you could literally have, like, some of the worst sleight of hand. But if you were engaging enough, they're not even going to notice it. Mm-hmm. Right? Of course, you couldn't perform on a camera, but,
Of course. I mean, it's like us saying how some magicians can do a simple plot in magic or a simple effect, but make it play massively and tour the world with it, like our friend Jeff Hobson. I say our friend like we know him, but Jeff Hobson does an effect that people perceive as like what you might find in a magic set, the egg bag. The idea of like an egg being in a bag, then it vanishing, then it being in the bag sounds, when you just say it like that, sounds boring. But he tours the world literally with that effect and maybe 2 others because of the charisma and showmanship this guy has.
On another note, if you guys really want an example of like a simple plot being performed really well, Chris Pratt does a card trick on a talk show.
Oh, yes.
And it's so well done. And so it's such a simple trick, by the way. Like, you guys could probably find a tutorial for this on YouTube.
Yeah. Chris Pratt is obviously the actor we're talking about. Yeah. The actor from
Chris Pratt does this trick. And I remember watching it being like, this is amazing. This is so entertaining. He performs it
to Will.i.am.
Yeah.
And on that talk show. And you're right. Like, he is someone who his job is to be a showman. And then he's just taken the tool of magic and used that. as the conversation, and he kills it.
I find that actually actors are some of the best magicians when it comes to like them doing a trick.
Because
there's one of Benedict
a magician
Cumberbatch.
is
an actor pretending to be a magician.
playing the part of a magician.
But you know, there's the Benedict Cumberbatch. He did a trick with the suspended water trick. Have you seen that?
No.
It was amazing. You gotta look it up when you get home. It's amazing.
Damn.
You guys should check it out too. It's quite entertaining. And they just
Awesome.
perform it in this way that a magician probably couldn't do, right? I don't know if a magician could do it, because I find that a lot of magicians can't separate the fact that they're doing a magic trick from being a performer, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and I guess that falls into the category of like performance art versus like performance, you know.
Yeah, we're in this, because we get into magic for all different reasons, but we love learning magic, and then to focus just on the fact that like you're performing is so different, and sometimes we get caught up on one or the other. But some people can make careers just from the performing with a tiny bit of magic. Other people cram lots of magic with so performing. Then you have the unicorns that can do both really well. It's all different levels.
Unicorn.
You're a unicorn. You're a real boy. With a watermelon shirt. Nice.
You know what I did though when I was younger to be able to perform better?
Oh, don't tell me that. That's gross. No, tell me.
I tried to last longer. No. So what I did was I actually started doing like comedy clubs, stand-up comedy clubs.
How old were you?
This was like 5 years ago, I would say. So I was already into the street performing scene.
Okay.
But I was like, I want to be better at performing without magic. So I started doing comedy clubs. I won a competition in Queensland.
What?
You didn't know this?
No.
Yeah. I attended this magic competition where people flew from all over Australia. And I tied. I actually tied. But I stand by it. I still think the guy that tied with me should have won because he was hilarious. I was losing my shit. He was so funny. But there was the whole reason why I was doing these things is because I wanted to learn how to be entertaining without a deck of cards, right? And that was a super powerful moment for me, by the way.
So you did a comedy set without magic?
Yeah.
Damn.
I have a comedy set without magic. Haven't you ever listened to some of the shit that I say?
Yeah, but you're always like doing cardistry at the same time when we're hanging out. So I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. And it matches what you're saying.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy, man. Was
Yeah.
that at the, what's it called? The Brisbane Laugh Factory? Have you been there?
No, I haven't been there yet.
Well, that's good because I made it up. I'm going to try and catch you. But
I was
you
going to
passed.
say. Yeah, I didn't know.
No, I think the only one I know of is the Albion Comedy Club, which is a real one. And then that's probably all I know of. Because that's where Tony Laffin had his comedy hypnotist show for like years and years.
Yeah, but you should get on that grind, man. Jump into a comedy club or two. You know what? I was listening to a podcast recently. This was something that I think for performance art, if you really want to get good at performance, this is a perfect example.
Don't be shit.
So Kevin Hart, right?
Yeah.
Kevin Hart was talking about his process. Now, Kevin Hart is a sold-out stadium comedian. If you don't know who he is, I'm sure you know who he is, though.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, his process was that he would come up with an idea, a general idea, and he always said that he had 2-year gaps between his specials, right?
Yeah, I heard this too. Keep going.
And he would come up with a concept, just an idea of what he wanted to make the set about. And then he would just take 2 weeks and go to just somewhere where people probably don't really know who he is or whatever. Yeah. And he would just attend crappy comedy clubs, just shitty comedy clubs. And he would just practice. He would just do it every single day, like 5 sets a day for 2 weeks. And then he would up it a little bit just into like, and he would do this for free, by the way. This was not like him going to a comedy club and paying to do it, like being paid to do it.
Yeah.
He would just rock up and do an open mic.
Well, this is what so many really great comedians do, is
It's
especially in New York. You can do like 6 sets a night if you are crazy enough to.
Yeah.
And isn't it so funny that comics will actually do that to polish off their routine, whereas magicians will make a show and once they've like filled up 30 minutes, they're like, all right, good, a show's ready to go.
I do find that funny. That's actually one of the reasons why I started doing some comedy stuff. And man, I write stuff down all the time. Like I literally think of ideas and I write them down. And then I rehearse speaking these points just because why not? Mm-hmm. Because why not learn how to do it better? But anyway, so as I was saying, Kevin Hart does these comedy clubs. He does them for free. You have to remember, this guy's a millionaire. This guy makes a lot of money. And he still does it for free because, well, one, he loves it. And two, one of the things that he said is that he will keep doing it. And then doing it in different areas. He'll do it in a theater and whatever for free. And then he'll do a stadium. He'll do one stadium. And he says if the stadium doesn't sound right, so the crowd, the roaring, the laughter, all that sort of stuff, if it doesn't sound right, he goes back to the comedy club and starts again.
Damn.
Isn't that crazy? And then once the stadium sounds right, that's when he does the tour.
That's crazy, man.
That's so cool, though. I thought that was such a cool thing.
That's awesome.
Kevin Hart, motivation.
What commitment to showmanship that is. I think we can all take lessons from comics, because a lot of comics will actually look down on magicians because
we're
they're
prop
not
comedians, really, aren't we?
Exactly, yeah. And they're like, when you talk to comedians, they can't understand how every magician will use the same like patter and storyline as everyone else. Whereas like that's a massive no-no and a big red flag if a comic does that. If you copy someone else's set, like that is like you're dead to them. But
that's crazy.
Magicians, that's
it's normal. Normalized,
a lot of people do.
In fact, when you buy a trick, you often cases get a script.
Yeah, you can buy an act. You
rubbish.
can basically buy an act.
But I do think that separates the boys from the men, for sure. Like, I've seen people do the same show, and then I've seen someone do something unique. And this is in the streets as well. As a street performer, I see this. Like me, I do a Cups and Balls show. And for the most part, people would refer to me as a Gazzo clone. If you don't know who Gazzo is like the OG of Cups and Balls on the streets. And I was referred to as a Gazzo clone for a long time, and it took me ages to separate myself from that and become my own performer.
Yep.
And that's because I started off with the whole... I bought Gazzo's DVDs, I bought his books, I even have his like comedy lines. Like I bought his... He put out a book of like... It's called Read Between the Lines.
Oh, yeah,
and it's literally just a book of jokes.
And some of them are harsh.
Yeah, some of them are really not okay.
Do you have one off the top of your head?
Oh man, they're all like interactive sort of things. So it's like it's hard.
But they're situational, right?
Yeah,
it says like if this happens, say this.
Yeah, exactly. So it's but yeah, I was reading a few lines to you the other day. Remember? Yeah, but I haven't used any of them in ages because of exactly what I was trying to avoid, and that's being being a Gazzo clone.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong; it's still nice to have them in the chamber sometimes. Like obviously, every now and again, I'll bust out a rhyme.
They're good just to have as a backup.
Yeah,
like when all else fails,
your main
got
material. Yeah, your main material needs to be unique.
Yeah,
yeah,
and that only happens from just getting out there and doing lots of shows. Like at the beginning, of course, you're going to copy the people you love and look up to, or the effect you buy, and you copy how people do it, of course. But if you want to make a career out of it and stand out, you got to make it your own. Like,
how funny is it too when people stick with it and they flop, and then they can't understand why.
Ooh,
right. It's true
yeah.
though. Because
right.
Yeah, like
right,
they'll do like
they're like, I'm doing it exactly how David Copperfield does it.
Yeah.
How come
I'm doing it word for word the same as David Blaine? How come it's not working for me?
Oh,
well, because you're not David Blaine.
How many, me included, when I was younger, how many David Blaine clones arose when he first put out his street magic? Because it just looks so cool and organic.
Yeah,
to do magic like that.
Even Dynamo fell into that same category as David Blaine, right?
Yeah. And we're not perfect. Of course, everyone wants to now be like David Blaine. Have that sort of, not now, but I'm just saying, like, even our friend PD Magic started doing some street magic eps very similarly, and then you break out and become your own person. But like, of course, you're going to copy the person that you see doing it well, but that only works for them,
I mean, it's funny when you watch people as well. I don't know if you've ever seen this. I have certainly seen it, and I hate it when they proper copy everyone's mannerisms as well. So you'll hear like this Australian guy being like, "G'day, mate, how you going?" And then they'll be like, "Oh, show us a trick." All right, then. So what I want you to do, and they just become English, and you're like, "What the heck?"
Yeah. So here I have my American $50, and we're going to do a routine with this in Australia where no one's ever seen it before.
Come on, man, don't be like that.
No, I mean obviously you use it, but I mean
I use them
like
with their big ass coins. But yeah, like they come in where they.
I'll be honest. I got caught out once for my terminology in Australia. Like, I was using a torch, right? I was trying to say torch, but I said, what's another word for torch? Like,
flashlight.
Flashlight, the American word. I said, yeah. So I was doing a routine. I'm like, imagine this is a flashlight. And this guy said to me, what the hell is a flashlight? You mean a torch? Why are you saying flashlight? And I was like, and I learned that in that moment, I was like, yep, you are 100% right. I'm copying the person that I saw talk about this.
Yeah.
It is now a torch.
Yeah, isn't that funny though? Because you become American all of a sudden.
Yeah.
You know, I have people question my accent all the time because
What do people guess?
a lot of people think that I don't even know. I get stuff all the time. Some people say they think I'm from England. Some people say they think I'm from America. And then there are the people that know I'm from Australia.
Yeah,
But it's because all of the teachers that I've had, like my main teacher was Scottish, right? And I spent like 10 years learning from this guy. And then there's like all the teachers from America and stuff, and that's the same sort of thing. And so if you speak to someone enough, and this is like what is it called again? The chameleon effect, where if you speak with a certain group of people, you start to imitate the accent. It's even like if you start learning a language, you'll start trying to imitate the mannerisms.
Or if you spend too long in another country.
Yeah, and you start imitating that behavior.
It happened to me a lot with hanging around with hip-hop dancers. When I was younger, I did breakdancing. Hip-hop dancing, a lot of them were American or were Asian but had American accents. And I would hang around them and I would just start saying words with that American twang at the end.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, which part of the state? And obviously I wear clothing that looks like from the States. So people would say, oh, what part of the state are you from? I'm like, Brisbane, mate. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you lose part of your identity, right? To this
totally.
Thing. But
it's
so funny because, I don't know. It's just funny. But anyway, guys, look. We've been talking now for what?
A while.
We've been talking for 37 minutes. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, us talking about the things that we spoke about.
The things and the stuff. And we just chat. We just chat like we're normally chatting, except you guys are here, which is awesome. Give us some feedback. Let us know you're here. Drop us a comment if you watch this on YouTube. And if you listen to us on Spotify or iTunes, thanks so much. I think there's a thing where you can like rate a podcast and you can give it 5 stars or whatever. You know, I don't even know anything about it, but if you do
how many stars
I'd appreciate it.
Just out of 5?
I don't know how many stars there are, but we want all the stars.
Yeah, give us all the stars. Any less than maximum stars is unacceptable.
But it's been the Magic Guys podcast.
We'll see you guys next week on Dragon Ball Z.
See ya.
Thanks for listening. It's time for us to disappear now. But we'll see you again on the next episode of The Magic Guys.